What is up? What is up, folks? My God, my God. Y'all have got the patience of Job. Look, I'm sorry if the sound is off. It sounds different. Hopefully it doesn't sound like shit. That's what I was doing was I was trying to tweak this thing. I got this new interface. It is working for sure. I'm having a hard time deciding if the sound is right, if it's anywhere close, if it's way off. So y'all are more than welcome to let me know in the chat if it sounds shit, like shit. So that's not going to hurt my feelings at all, and I will play with it more when I have more time. But anyway, we are back in business. And just a little side note, I did have to borrow the money for my piece here. So anybody feeling generous, it's not going to go to waste. So that will kind of allow me to give this saint, this good Samaritan, their money back. So anyway, um, I'm sorry, buddy. Brett, wake your ass up. It's time to go now. Let's see who we got. All right, Brett Booth in the house, of course. Miss Susan. Sounds a little like I'm in can. Okay. Well, we'll try to have it less can sounding next time. So there's only so much I can do. It's a new setup, and I just got to play with it some. So anyway, Kez, how you doing, Kez? AC? Finally, that's exactly right. You just don't even know. I mean, I guess you do know, but anyway. Um, let's see. Do Brig got Brig in the house, and Penny. She said she was going to show up, and there she is. All right. Let's see. Anybody else for right now? I think that's gonna be it. So hopefully some more people will pile in here before long. They may have got tired of waiting on me. I'm sorry. Hey, it's still better than it was. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Brett. I don't know. I might have to play with it some. Rick, what is up, Rick? Let's see. I don't want to screw everything up. Yeah, yeah. Is that any better, worse? No difference. More shitty, less shitty. I promise you, I will get it figured out. Brett, you be my ears. Tell me if that's any better. It shouldn't be. This should be it. What I did was since I never went live, it just stayed up scheduled, and comment sections will stay open. Um, but once we get done with this and I end this live, that should shut everything down. Anyway, good to see y'all. We will get right to it. I've already told y'all I have concerns about this particular issue. We've done a few shows on Charlie's Angels. What's up? I was just apologizing for the sound. I got a new setup and I'm trying to get it right, and it's probably not that great right now, but I am able to talk. We're able to stream, so I am not going to complain too much. I'm going to say, right on. Anyway, so this is a subject that really I feel like is important. Um, we already saw what we already seen what the Israel lobby can do. I mean, it lost Thomas Massey his election, and honestly, I didn't believe there was going to be a way for him to lose that election. I mean, he's always done so well, but yeah, you got all them shekels coming in, and I guess sometimes you get enough of those shekels, it's hard to overcome. Anyway, so but we all know what's been going on over there in Gaza. We all know what's been going on in the West Bank. We all know what's been going on in Lebanon. We know what's been going on. I mean, really take your pick, any of those countries over there. And it's nothing good. And they say that their military is the most moral military in the world. But I think most of us that are here would probably have a little bit different outlook on that. What is up, Zachy Weezer? Hey, we've got a rule. Anybody just pops up in the chat, you got to show up every time I go live now. So I'm hoping you'll stick with that. We enjoy. Hey, we got a good chat here. Got a good community, and yeah, appreciate you stopping in. And like I said, hopefully I'll see you many more times to come. There's a bunch of cool people hanging out in there. I can promise you. And thank you for the kind words. So anyway, let's get right to it. We're gonna let and if anybody doesn't know Mario Nafal, he does have a YouTube channel. His big thing's X, but he does have a Debbie. What is up, Debbie? He does have a YouTube channel, so y'all should go subscribe to him. He is really huge into geopolitics. That's about all he does is cover geopolitics. But I enjoy him, and Robert Barnes gets on my nerves every now and then. I like him some days I don't. I can't make up my mind. But anyway, he's pretty good right here. He's starting to come around. He's always been too pro Philly for me, but he's starting to come around. So seems like he's starting to see the light for whatever reason, either because it's politically the thing to do now, or maybe he's actually seeing the light. Crystal, what is up? All right. We'll hear it from, we'll see what they got to say about it. Basically, in a nutshell, I don't know how many of y'all have heard of it, but this is the bill that Congress has been quietly trying to push through, or this is a detail that they've been quietly trying to add to the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. And basically, it is going to tie our military to the very big, huge air quotes, most moral military in the world together at the hips, intelligence-wise. And we already know what we already know how they do his own intelligence. What was it Charlie Kirk said about the Mossad and the intelligence that we're funding? They were wrong in Libya. They were wrong in Syria. They were wrong in Iraq. They were wrong in Afghanistan. They were wrong, and down the list it goes. So, and of course, nobody can be that wrong that many times. We all know that it's intentional. So, anyway, without further ado, let's listen to what they got to say.
100% of MAGA, as he likes to say, will back him, despite he's increasingly admitted he does.
Don't y'all say nothing. Don't say a word.
If he sees a negative poll, he pretends it isn't true. So,
what's up, Smalls? What's up, Smalls?
A rational person would have never got into this war. A politically rational person would have got out of this war a long time ago. Unfortunately, with Trump, we're not with the same Trump we were with for most of his career. And that's why he keeps making decisions that are politically irrational, not in his own best self-interest politically to make.
What do you make of his post that when you first read it, the post a couple of days ago that people thought he's lifting the blockade? When you first read that, did you think it was it? That was it? They've reached a deal?
Well, I knew from behind the scenes that the deal was there to be made and that his part was to process that by saying, I've lifted the blockade as confirmation to...
You heard that as well? Yeah, you heard that as well, yeah? Yeah,
and
yeah, same. Apparently that was one of the terms they needed for the deal to be finalized.
Correct. They wanted to see confirmation that he was telling his own constituency, his own voters, and his own public and press that he was, in fact, ending the blockade. But he buried it so far deep around everything else that the Iranians got skeptical. They're like, oh, he's not actually going to lift the blockade. And they're now entirely action dependent. They don't care if he signs anything. They're not.
Miss Susan, I mean, look, nobody really knows, I don't guess, but, maybe Trump and a couple others. That being said, I got a feeling he probably did. No matter what you think of Trump, he's never been stupid. I don't think he's stupid now. And trust me, he has been looking for an out. That's why we say that we don't ever get into those deals with the devil. He got us there, so, he's going to have to find a way to get out, I guess. but I'm pretty sure he's been looking for an out. And I knew we probably all of us knew that. I know, Brett. What about that? But we all knew that the one thing that was going to keep us there was going to be Bibi. I mean, no doubt about it. That's the problem. Once you get into these little, skirmishes with Israel, you can't ever get out. They don't ever honor any kind of ceasefires or anything like that. Treaties and stuff mean absolutely nothing to them. I could have told you right from the get-go that any tries to bring peace through the process, and Bibi will be right in there to fuck it up just as quick as he can. So, yeah, I saw that coming. We all know how that goes, and so he shouldn't be acting surprised.
Not going to do anything until we do something. So it was supposed to be he announces the withdrawal, and then they see the withdrawal, and then they would say the strait is now open for traffic with some environmental fees and whatnot. They've learned from the U.S.
Open to the traffic, just $2 million a pop.
Bureaucracy. You disguise a tax as an administrative fee. You don't call it a toll or anything like that.
Yes, that would be great, and maybe that is the case. I don't know, but regardless, it doesn't look good, is all I know. I just don't like the thought of being tied to them in any kind of. And the worst part about it to me is that Congress is trying to get this done, and we don't even have a formal fucking treaty with them. We are not even technically on paper allies with these people.
That you just administrative fee, environmental fee, this fee, that fee, management fee, all that, and then Trump blew it all up again by all the things he couched in front of it and after it that convinced the Iranians.
Why do you think he did that? Yeah, what's your thought process for that? Why say the blockade is lifted? Because we're gonna go, like, why take it to a whole other level by saying we're gonna go in and remove the enriched uranium ourselves and dispose of it, and no money will exchange hands, and there'll be free passage through the Strait of Hormuz. By the way, today the Iranian parliament passed a law that says that the Strait of Hormuz is Iranian sovereign territory, and they'll be charging. They can do whatever they want there. They manage it. But why would he say those things in the post? And then why would he have why would he convene the security cabinet right after and have a meeting for 2 hours and then declare an operation later that night, the demining operation?
He keeps convincing himself that he can redictate the terms at the last minute and that Iran will capitulate. Now, sometimes this is a flaw of a deal maker. Deal makers have a propensity to think, oh, I've already got them there, so I bet I can just throw in 2 more things and it'll be too late and they'll be eager to sign on and they won't pull back, rather than it poison pilling the problem. I mean, a lot of so-called great deal makers,
A bunch of poison pills floating around out there.
are not always great deal makers, to be blunt about it. They can make your life a nightmare if you're a lawyer trying to negotiate something over the final line, and that's part of it. Also, Trump keeps self-sabotaging it because he reads it, and he's like, I'm not happy with how I'll be perceived if I say that. And so he says something different. He's done this now multiple times when a deal has been there. I mean, that's why we're in a position where Iran is now demanding only action will lead to reciprocal action.
Yeah, they said that.
And so that's in my view is it's because of a declining mental state. Other people think it's because he's in the pocket of Israel or he's intimidated by Israel.
On the declining mental state, what do you make of the physical examination he did? He said the following today: the result of my physical examination taking at Walter Reed Military Medical Center and just released were extremely good. Unlike other U.S. presidents, none of whom have ever taken an approved high difficulty cognitive test, I scored a
Hell yeah, he's a real one, Nosy. Come on now.
perfect 30 out of 30. Considered extreme intelligence. Are the Democrats, as in dumb-ocrats, really surprised? In fact, this is my 4th such test. All perfect, or 120 correct answers out of 120 questions asked. It is very rare that anyone gets a perfect score, especially when achieved 4 times.
I apologize. I meant to start this a little forward here. I'm just going to get us through this real quick.
Times in a row. All people running for president and VP should be forced to take high difficulty cognitive tests. Congress and the Democrats should demand it. President DJT. First, there is a test. He's not lying about it. He did get a good score. That's public information, correct?
on any of them. So they're not cognitive dementia tests that the is out there. It would be a way to mute it. And the fact he's chosen not to do any of them, no battery of psychological dementia, behavioral dementia type tests like that. Yeah, so it doesn't show up in like cognitive capacity. It's not you have to have a specific set of tests, and Trump isn't taking those tests.
There's one more thing I wanted to ask you about. I forgot to put it as a note here, so I'll mention it
Here we go, guys. Here's the meat and taters.
now, so I don't forget again. Did you see that legislation that they're trying to pass about integrating the American military and the Israeli military, especially from a tech perspective? Have you gone through this?
Yes, it's deeply problematic. Now, in fact, we've already done that to different levels.
Can you explain it to the audience first, just for people that don't know?
Sure. So the most dramatic interpretation of it is the U.S. military is subject to the authority of the Israeli military.
So, I mean, really, what the hell is that going to change? Does anybody here think that's going to make any kind of meaningful change? I mean, it kind of seems that's the way it is anyway. Oh, Lordy, I didn't stop old Mario there at a very flattering pose, did I?
More neutered version of it is that it gives them access to, as if they're part of the U.S. military in terms of classified access, technological access. It allows for arms shipments to be made and military technology and national security technology to be shared without any special vote or particular action of the president. And both are area of concern because in the past, when we've done this with Israel in particular, not only did Israel steal like nuclear capabilities to help build up their nuclear arsenal and their nuclear weapons to begin with, you can go back and find actually Robert Maxwell was implicated in the scandal that involved John Tower, who was going to be Secretary of Defense under Poppy Bush, former Texas senator, where they were stealing access to our nuclear labs on a regular, ongoing basis. That was
Now, Robert. They don't even have a damn nuclear program. What the hell are you talking about? Come on now.
the Robert Maxwell thing before it became a Jeffrey Epstein thing.
Oh, no, we don't, but they sure think we do. They think the whole world owes them something. Oh, yeah, because of the
Then, just the last decade and a half, Israel's used their access to our military technology, turn around and sell it to China, by the way.
Yeah, steal our shit and sell it to China. You know, we've always bitched about China stealing our shit, and that's bad enough. But when they steal it and give it to China, how much worse is that? Oh, they're our greatest ally.
They would develop their own weapons based on our classified material, national security material, then turn around on tech material, and they turn around and sell it to the Chinese to pocket it. So Israel is not a reliable ally for many.
It's the understatement of the day.
Without the authority of the Americans, I'm assuming.
Correct. Oh, yes. In fact, the condition
And
of the agreement.
that's unrelated to the whole Jonathan Pollard saga. Is that separate to that?
That's entirely separate from the Pollard scandal. So that gives you an idea of that's why there have been people that have no bone to pick with Israel who have repeatedly said not to do these kind of military deals at all, not to share this kind of technology with Israel or anybody, except under the very strictest of circumstances. And the problem with this deal is it takes it out of having to do deal by deal. And so,
Brett, I'd rather Russia have it than some of these other fuckers. I mean, I really would. At this point, I don't believe Russia's our enemy. That's just the way I believe. Anymore, I don't believe anything they tell us anyway. But to me, I believe that Russia could be a better ally than Israel. That's just the way I look at it. I could be wrong.
in fact, it legally authorizes Israel to effectively get away with it to a degree. Whereas if we sold the weapons to them and it came under certain conditions and then they subsequently shared it, we could directly take action. This is so loose and free going that you're going to have Israeli military personnel in the room when some of this is getting developed. It's very, I mean, we already have aspects of this. There's Mossad minders in large parts of the State Department and the Pentagon and other places where they should not, the intelligence agencies where they should not be.
And we've heard several people, Joe Kent's one of them. I'm trying to remember some of the other. Well, Tucker's talked about it at least a few times. But you can go in there in the Pentagon and there's high-ranking Israelis just walking around in there like they own the damn place. In there with all the high-ranking generals and everything, like just right up in the middle of our shit. And I'm sorry, I don't think they should be able. I don't think they should be allowed past the front door. As many times as they have been responsible for espionage and secrets being stolen and lying to us about intelligence, I mean, like, absolutely fucking not. No, 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 and no.
Tucker Carlson has had people on that have publicly disclosed these facts and realities. Joe Kent has talked about these facts and realities that he was kind of shocked to see once he got into government and office.
Can you tell me more about them?
So effectively what it is you'll be sitting across from someone if you're a CIA analyst and the person has a dual role working with Mossad, right? And this should never happen. And you have people inside the
Again, understatement of the year. This should never happen. No.
Pentagon, same thing. You have people inside the State Department, same thing. And somebody will stumble across these people in some level. They'll get earlier this year, a high-ranking State Department official was just doing an honest reporting.
The answer to that, Keza, is goose egg. In other words, zero.
What was happening in Palestine? He got publicly sacked because our Huckabee was employing people, including Sean Hannity's stepson, that were lobbying to get that done. That were basically inside the State Department appointees, but they have Israel loyalties, and that should not exist. And they're
Again, I say all dual citizens, the fuck out. You don't have to move back to Israel, but get out of Congress, get out of the Pentagon, get out of any positions of authority. If you are a dual citizen, then you have dual loyalties. And if you have dual loyalties, then you absolutely cannot be 100% devoted and loyal to the United States of America. And that is just all there is to it. That's it. Daisy times. Hey, what's up, Daisy?
priority is Israel, not the United States. And this just codifies it into law, gives them a special relationship we have never established.
I mean, yeah, it's bad enough. I mean, it's been happening anyway, and it hasn't been legal. But let me tell you something. If they get this into law,
Established in American military or national security history. Not even within NATO did we do what they're trying to do.
We've never done that. We've never done that.
Me too, Daisy. Good God. And I didn't know that I was going to make it. Yeah, I did. I knew I was coming back tonight. I was just trying to get everything right before I did.
Before?
Never
The
done that
Americans have
before.
never done that before?
No, this is totally new, and basically they put out, hey, don't worry, Israel is actually going to get off of the U.S. government dole, and the Netanyahu floated, and Laura Loomer and others floated that we're
They're going to get off the tit, in other words.
not going to take any military or financial aid at all.
Oh, no, we don't need any. Now, all of a sudden, they don't need any military or how do words work? They don't need any military or financial aid. You know why? Because they have access to all our deepest and darkest secrets, all our super high-tech, super classified technologies, the kind of thing that people get killed for every single day for knowing too much or, saying the wrong thing to the wrong person. And all of a sudden, our good friends with the white and blue flag, all of a sudden, they are going to have no holds barred access to all of it if this goes through.
And instead, they actually escalated it. While behind the scenes, they were getting integrated into the very U.S. national security and military apparatus to such a degree that no vote would need to occur, no presidential executive action would need to occur.
Hey, what's up, buddy? I have been meaning to give you a call. Look, if you're not busy tomorrow, I am going to call you, okay? It has been crazy, but I'm going to call you. Yes, they are going up. Absolutely. The Lord's good. I tell you what. We got an awesome chat here. And, good to see you in here and be glad for you to hang out more often.
Or they would automatically get transfers of weapon and tech.
Look here. We shit on Graham all the time, so.
Technology and information and intel. And that has never happened before at all. Even within the NATO structure, we never went this far. And that's what and NATO would be the closest analogy. We're making Israel a super NATO ally. with this military structure in ways without the limitations of NATO, without the restrictions on them that NATO would impose. So it's a complete hijacking of our military security establishment to give a privileged status to a foreign nation. And at a time when that foreign nation is the most controversial foreign nation in the country politically, and at a time when that foreign nation has dragged us into unnecessary and self-destructive wars. So it's incredible, but it tells you how captured Congress is.
I can't wait, I can't wait, Cody. That's what I'm hoping on.
When Pat Buchanan, my old friend, said years ago, Congress is Israel-occupied territory, he wasn't kidding.
Can you believe that? Robert Barnes, of all people, he said that Palestine is occupied territory. I have seen this guy go to bat for them many times. Talk about how it's all conspiracy theory. People like Candace Owens grifting and, just blowing things out of proportion and blah, 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 blah. But guess what? Nope. So I don't know if there's a particular reason for this other than maybe he just saw the light, but it's good to hear it coming from him anyway.
That's because it came in the context of there was a video about it saying, "Hey, we're not going to take American aid anymore. Israel won't take American aid. We're going to cut it off." But
they won't need our aid when they've got access to all our secrets. Then they can sell that shit to China and Russia, and they won't need no military aid from us. That's how they're going to offset it.
Escalated it.
That's exactly what they did. It's the Trump rug pull presidency. You look over there, and it turns out it's happening over here, and it's extraordinary. Some of us were skeptical that Israel was really thought that was a temporary political maneuver, and they do know politically they're pariah in 5-10 years. That's why they're trying to lock this in institutionally in ways that's more difficult to undo and unwind. Once this is done, it's not easy to divorce. It's much easier to get married than divorced in this context.
Look here, some of us, like me and these people hanging out with me here and a bunch of others, we've been screaming for a divorce for a very long time. And we've been saying the longer this goes on, the further and further this gets, the harder and harder it's going to be. Wouldn't be hard for me at all. But once you get so entangled with something like this, it's hard. It really is.
And that creates some serious, and you basically got kids along the way with this deal. And that's what makes it so problematic. And the fact that they try to do it such a sneaky way. There weren't all these independent grassroots journalists.
In a sneaky way. Is there any other way? What is it about? I wish I got to look that quote up. Something about through or by deception we make war. Yeah, it's all about being sneaky.
And Congressman Thomas Massie and former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't bring it to light.
Come on, whoever y'all three are, get out there and hit that like button.
We wouldn't even know it was in the bill. It was just snuck in as part of the defense authorization. And in the middle of it is this extraordinary secret marriage between the U.S. military and national security establishment and a foreign nation in the case of Israel.
God, this guy is spitting facts. I'm telling you, preach it, brother.
That is so freaking wild.
Welcome to modern.
And he acts like this is the first time he's ever heard it. Oh, wow.
The Trump second term, but it's the second term where our quarter-century anniversary is going to be replaced with, for rather than having folk music and great festivals and all that, it's going to be Trump talking for 3 hours about how great he is. It's like, this keeps devolving and getting worse and worse and worse for those of us that supported him and cheered him on. To see this sort of turn into the villain, to turn into the rogue, it's like a fiction arc. He's become the King Lear, the Mad King, and we just see more and more evidence of it every single day. He kept referring to himself as the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Cody. I've heard that a bunch. I've never been through that myself, thank God, and knock on wood. But that being said, I believe in this case, it probably wouldn't be cheaper to keep her. I get it, but I don't know about this time.
Muhammad Ali did that, but that was
this one cost money for sure, but this one's costing sweat and blood too. So
more of staging,
Didn't
not
he? Didn't he post him? Didn't he post an image of him on Mount Rushmore as well?
yes, that and some sort of godlike commander that can.
Yeah, before it's over with, BB will be on Mount Rushmore. You watch. You watch. BB will be on Mount Rushmore, and Trump will be the fucking prime minister of Israel.
Attack everybody everywhere with like old American ships and everything else in front of him and airplanes above him. At least he left off the demon ball this time, and it wasn't Jesus. That's all that can be said for. But it gives you an idea where his mental state is. I mean, the deal was done on Friday, and he just blew it up. And he imagined when he brought everybody in that he was getting their affirmation that Iran would sign on to these latest changes. And it's like, no, they're not. And he's like, well.
And this is the whole thing about it. He can talk as much shit as he wants and how we're putting such a hurting on them. And don't get me wrong, we've done lots of damage. We can hurt them, but they still have the upper hand. And it pains me to say that. It really, really does. Because this all could have been avoided. We all knew. It's a huge country, super highly, they are a very, very complex, very, very technologically advanced. Like this is not Afghanistan at all, not Iraq. Like I said, a huge country, and then they're like we are basically, except worse in some ways as far as where they're located, the geography. It's a nightmare, and everything they've got is underground. So, I mean, they're still launching missiles, or they still got the ability to.
Oh, let's try. Let's see. And then you saw them leaking to the New York Times. All the snide, his snide attitude towards Vice President Vance. Just because Vance told him he was wrong about this and not to do it. That was it. And because of it, Vance gets these nasty campaign against him by the neocons and the Israel lobby in places like Murdoch's publications. But that's very much the forensic thing.
I love that. We went from just kind of blowing AIPAC off to the Israel lobby. My, how times have changed.
Fingerprints of Trump when you show up, and they don't want Vance even interacting with people online. I mean, Vance is the last one with any common sense in that whole White House that has a survival instinct.
I don't know if he does or not, to be honest with you. He's in a spot. There is no win-win for him. If he goes against Trump, which is going to be the popular opinion these days, by the public, Trump will destroy him probably within hours and days. Then if he gets fully on board with Trump on what we've got going on right now, the public is going to say fuck you, and he'll never stand a chance. I'm sorry, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think he's going to be a 2028 contender.
Stronger than their sycophantic instinct, and for it he gets negative, nasty rumor campaigns, and Trump walking around telling people, "Oh, remember when he dropped that trophy? And look at his shoes." I mean, this is like it's just evolving fast. This presidency, it's not the same mental state. That's why you basically filter through what would a toddler do in this situation. That gives you a better preview of what Trump would do. Sadly,
putting like I'm just a lot more concerned about this integration. I'm just reading about it as well. U.S. and Israeli military ties are poised to become more deeply entrenched than ever under a controversial provision buried within the proposed NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, according to former State Department official Josh Paul. Critics argue the measure is not simply about military cooperation or aid, but about permanently weaving Israeli defense interests into the fabric of America's own military-industrial complex. The proposal would expand access to U.S. military technologies. It's like we didn't learn anything from the whole saga with the nuclear program. Like you just mentioned, it comes to China and the Jonathan Pollard saga.
Yeah. The bad part about it is our Congress, the whole Israel lobby, AIPAC, all that, it's full of Jonathan Pollards. And that's the sad part about it.
The proposal would expand access to U.S. military technologies, increase integration of
That's right, Nosy.
defense systems and supply chains, and further bind American defense planning to Israeli military priorities. Paul dismissed claims that Washington is considering its relationship with Israel as a
Cody, I'm going to hold you to that, buddy. I'm going to try my best to give you a call. That is my intention, to give you a call sometime tomorrow. And yeah, we'll have us a nice long chat.
shell game, arguing that while politicians publicly debate aid packages, Congress is quietly pursuing legislation that could make the partnership far harder to unwind in the future. He warned the proposal would give Israel unprecedented access to American technology and provide incredible leverage over America's own defense priorities. Opponents of the measure say it
I want one, Susan.
represents an attempt to lock future generations of Americans into an increasingly intertwined military relationship with Israel, regardless of public opinion or political change. They warned that once Israeli
Make him a damn sandwich.
technologies, defense industries, and strategic planning become embedded across key parts of America's military infrastructure, reversing the process could become politically impossible. Polls urging Americans to challenge the proposal before it becomes law, warning that Congress is moving to institutionalize and entrench military integration in ways that could shape.
You know, first we got all these damn anti-Semitism laws. And, you know, it doesn't have anything to do with anybody being a Semite. It doesn't have anything to do with anything close to that. Basically, if you criticize Israel, if you criticize the Israeli government, the secular government that was installed there in 1947, if you criticize them, that is thereby equal to hating the Jews or Semites. And of course, we could go into all that, whether most Jews are Semites or not, and blah, 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 blah. We're not going there. Regardless, you know, first we have that, all these laws popping up everywhere. You know, the you can't, oh Lord, my brain just went completely, it flatlined on me. The anti-boycott laws where you can't boycott Israel. Well, you can boycott any other damn country in the world. Not only that, you can boycott any private business here in the States you want to, but we can't boycott Israel. Like, what the fuck? Why? So it was bad enough we have all that. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, not only can we not boycott, not only can you not say anything bad, otherwise you're a terrible, you know, little funny mustache man loving person. We have to give them all our deepest, darkest military secrets, you know, all our highest all of our highest technologies, and you know, all the good stuff.
U.S. foreign and defense policy for decades to come. You think they'll pass Congress?
It might not now, thanks to Congress, thanks to those reports and you know, Drop Site and others documenting. Yeah, and now that Massey has made a big deal of it. That's why they hate Massey so much.
Man, it's such a shame we're losing Massey. It is such a shame. What a loss.
No doubt. I mean, ultimately,
it won't be that big of a loss as long as he runs in 2028 and can get elected. Now, I'll take him as president over being a Kentucky, you know, congressman any day. So I guess we'll just have to see how that plays out. But anybody thinks that he's not at least considering it or being approached right now is not paying attention.
The biggest loss I think will be for the Republican Party, because they told the Libertarian wing and the anti-war wing and a lot of the Maha and Food Freedom ring that they're not welcome in the Republican Party, and they'll let them know in November how they feel about that. That will sink the Democrats in a lot of close House seats and Senate seats all across the country. And so it's very foolish. But you see the power of Massey. They know that Massey's the one guy who's going to deliver on something like the Epstein files, the one guy who can deliver when the budget goes crazy and telling people this is a crazy budget. One of the only people that can deliver. He outs the surveillance state all the time. These new things that they impose in our cars now, new cars in America, where the government basically can shut down your car if they don't like your driving. That's kind of a control grid. Yeah, they call it the kill switch.
Oh, come on, dude. As connected as you are, and as much as you paying attention, you ain't heard about this. Come on now.
So all new U.S. cars built from 2027 onward have to have in them a government kill
That's right, Susan. Look, I'm telling you, you know, I'd say it's going to be more of an issue this year than it ever has been. But I'm telling you right now, come 2028, anybody that gets on that stage and doesn't put their hand on a Bible and swear to not take a penny from those people, I think it's going to be unelectable. And you know what? I think that's a great thing. I'm tickled shitless. I'm excited of the possibility of that. But I really think that's fixing to be one of the biggest new issues when it comes to voters.
Switch that they could from remotely turn off your car at any time.
Debbie, catch the replay tomorrow. Make sure you leave me some comments. 6 words or more is the best. I'm glad you came out to hang out with us for a little while, Miss Debbie. Good to see you. And yeah, we'll do it again soon. All right.
All right. If they don't like your driving. I mean, it's a lot. It's like if you said China did it, people go, "Oh yeah, of course, okay, surveillance state." No, it's America doing this before China's doing it. China's not even doing this. We're doing this.
China's not
exactly. I mean, we're going into surveillance state places that some of the most totalitarian and authoritarian and control freak nations in the world aren't doing. And the guy that outed what was Thomas Massie. He outed it 4 years ago when they first started putting it in, tried to get it out over and over again. So Massie was always not only sort of an effective gadfly, but he was a perfect whistleblower within Congress. And that's why they hated him and despised him so much. They wanted to take him out in 2020, but that backfired on Trump at the time. So he moderated. He needed Fox News blacklisting Massie
Damage
and
control.
the Israel lobby spending a record sum and all of Trump going full throttle night in, night out against Massie in order to push Massie out. Without all three, they don't. Massie still got 45% of the vote, despite being outspent 2-1. And BoomerCons believing in the AI slop ads that they saw. But now that he's on top of this and making this a signature issue, and I don't think we've heard the last of Thomas Massie, whether it's governor in 2027, president in 2028, something Senate down the road. I think this is only the beginning of Massie's career. To try to take out this gnat, they blew him up into a future political Godzilla. Because he's now drawing attention to it, this will be a hot button issue. But a lot of Democrats are deeply embedded, as much as Republicans are, with AIPAC. Massie was literally the only member of,
and they're going to bullshit you, and they're going to try to not let that be known. They're going to try to gaslight everybody. Don't let them lie to you guys. Look at one of the maps. You can look at those maps that shows how many people take money from AIPAC, and it is literally like 430 something of the 435. It is an absolute insane amount.
Congress, active member of Congress.
It's literally like 99%, I believe it is.
To have never taken a penny from AIPAC. But there's going to be
all
more
of
people.
Congress. All of Congress. No one else.
434 had taken money from AIPAC. One guy, Thomas Massie.
There you go. 434 out of 435.
Massie had not. But he's going to have more people joining him because, Trump's putting up those posters where he's calling Lauren Boebert a loser, calling, he undermined Nancy Mace's campaign for governor of South Carolina's payback for her voting for the Epstein file disclosures. So he's going to have a lot of people in Congress there's no love lost for him personally on the Republican side. And they already have thin margins anyway. So my guess is this does not, and Democrats will look bad when they're publicly outed as being, because in the Democratic Party primary, Dan Goldman is probably going to lose in New York. And nobody thought that possible just, 6 months ago. This is a very well-connected sort of deep state Democrat, deeply entwined with the Israel lobby. He's got the Mamdani effect keeps getting felt, and he endorsed his opponent. It looks like his opponent's going to take him out. That's the biggest Democratic loss institutionally in New York since AOC won. So I think you see Congressman Ro Khanna making Israel increasingly a target issue. This is a guy who previously took money from AIPAC, but now won't because of everything that's unfurled and unfolded. He was the co-sponsor with Congressman Massie on the Epstein File Transparency Act. So I think he'll start to make this a highlighted issue. He's going to run for president clearly in 2028, Congressman Khanna. And whoever's the most...
You think so? He will?
Oh, yeah, I have no doubt about it. He's positioned himself very effectively to do so. And whoever's the Israel skeptical candidate in the 2028 presidential primaries will be the nominee, much like the 2016
You just cut out. Well, I'm just looking at the odds on the betting platforms. In terms of odds of being the next president, JD Vance is at 18%. Gavin Newsom.
All right, guys, they're gonna bullshit a little more. That's about all that's left of that. Best I remember. We will double check. Let me run it forward again. I'm
Go
pretty
back
sure.
to Israel's founding, and you could argue before then, there have been multiple controversies and scandals.
Wait a minute. There is something else good in here. Hold on.
Okay. I want to go back before we digress too far. I want to go back to that law that is passed, that legislation that could pass, integrating the two militaries. Can you go back to what we know about the Jonathan Pollard story? Can you explain that to me again? And the whole China story of Israel selling nuclear secrets or sharing nuclear secrets learned from the US, shared by the US with China without US authorization.
So going all the way back to Israel's founding, and you could argue before then, there have been multiple controversies and scandals connecting the Israel lobby to spying in the U.S., spying on the U.S., stealing secrets of the U.S., and that's why people like Kermit Roosevelt and others were deep skeptics of Israel. But James Angleton, sort of the black box manager at the CIA, was deeply embedded with Mossad. That came out in the recent JFK assassination file disclosures, was the depth and degree of his integration of Mossad very early, it's the 1950s, into CIA operations, and created that unhealthy dynamic from a lot of people's concerns, because it gave Israel access to our intel and information in ways that we would often find later on they misappropriated or misused or even sold to a third party. Then you had Jonathan Pollard, longtime U.S. spy, who was spying for Israel and stole various.
And who did he go see over there in Israel when he got back? None other than the biggest Zionist asshole in America, Christian Zionist asshole in America, Mike Huckabee. What a douchebag loser.
Secrets to give to the Russians for the purposes of getting a good deal done for Israel on another collateral matter. Something he's very proud of. He's back in Israel today.
What was the matter? What was the matter? Do you know?
I forget the underlying details, but basically during the middle of the Cold War, he sold some of our top secret information transferred it to.
He's the reason they have a nuclear program. But I remember, I believe he was involved in some of that.
The Russians on behalf of the Soviet Union, on behalf of Israel, so Israel could get a separate deal done that was beneficial to them. And he's proud of this. He's unembarrassed by this. He served over 20 years in federal prison here in the U.S. before going to Israel. There was massive pressure on Bill Clinton to try to pardon him in the 90s. So because his crime goes back to the 70s. But that wasn't it. They also stole from various nuclear facilities in the U.S. in the 1950s in order to build up their nuclear program to begin with, including in some places in Pennsylvania. President John Kennedy was very agitated at their getting a nuclear weapons capability.
Yep, he was pretty agitated. He was talking about making AIPAC, register as a foreign agent. And yeah, that's right, Brett. Don't you be running off. But anyway, Kennedy was going to try to make AIPAC register with FARA, as foreign agents, and he was also very upset about the secret nuclear program that was, stolen from us, and he was going to try to get them to denuclearize, and he didn't like it at all. They knew it, and we all know what happened to him, huh?
In the manner and method in which they did so. Then
that's right, Brett.
And later on, Robert Maxwell was part of an effort to basically break in through various forms of hacking and other intel information to all of our nuclear security facilities, using John Tower to do so, and using a software program to do so that ended up being controlled by Mossad. And it was
no way. I don't believe that shit for a minute. Any of y'all believe that shit?
Disguised as something else, and Robert Maxwell did that on behalf of the Israeli government. And again, nobody's spied.
She is, Brett. Get your ass out of the hallway and back in the classroom now.
On us more successfully. A lot of people have spied on us, but not successfully like Israel has. Israel has done more damage to our national security apparatus and secrets than any other foreign government.
I'm going to clip that out. Can you believe that shit? I mean, Robert Barnes is on fire. I'm his new biggest fan.
In the last since
Spitting facts.
the 1950s, and that's, I mean, nobody else has had the same degree and consistency of success decade after decade. You might have something like the Rosenberg stealing the nuclear secrets for the Soviet Union that might have been more consequential more broadly, but you didn't have the same thing happening in the 50s and then again in the 60s and again. No decade has passed where Israel hasn't sabotaged their national security by selling secrets they weren't supposed to sell or by getting secrets they weren't supposed to have.
You preach it, brother. My God.
So to institutionalize them,
I know it, Susan. I'm telling you, the dude had to took a hell of a fall and cracked his coconut on something.
to marry them, to literally physically, legally intertwine them into the system at its very inception and origination, in the process of producing this information, producing these various weapons, producing this technology, is what this law does. And that is devastating for the future security of the United States, given the long history of Israel sabotaging those very secrets.
I concur. Anybody disagree in the chat?
Which American president stood up to Israel the most?
Kennedy. Look where that got him.
I would actually say Ronald Reagan.
Oh, bullshit. All of it just went out the window, just right then and there.
The reason is because the closest we got to something like this, to a degree, was in terms of a big major.
Yeah, he finally got his swimming lessons, but yeah, whenever you're wearing concrete shoes, concrete boots, it's hard to do much good.
War regionally in the region tied to Israel and something other than the Palestinian issue was in the early 1980s. Israel went into Lebanon, was causing massive problems for the Shia population and Christian population. The official narrative was to try to get out the PLO that had relocated there after getting kicked out of Jordan, and being, from the Palestinian perspective, expelled from Israel. And during that time period, President Reagan went along with the Israel lobby and located troops in Beirut over the objection of Defense Secretary Weinberger. Then that's when we had 200 plus troops get murdered, and attributed to
explosion, the 1982 explosion by Hezbollah. Yeah,
That's right, Nosy. That's right.
Correct. Now, part of that was because some of our while we were there, we were trying to hit certain places. We ended up hitting a bunch of Shia camps, that refugee camps. That's why that anger was present. But it was also anger present because of Israel's presence in southern Lebanon at the time and trying to go into Beirut. And as soon as that happened...
Sorry, just quickly, why were the troops there in the first place? What was the point of these troops?
At the request of Israel to try to... at the request of Israel to try to secure peace in Lebanon, really to suppress Israel's opposition in Lebanon, to try to quiet down the Shia militias and suppress them in exchange for support of the Christian militias.
So the troops were there performing military action against these Shia groups within Lebanon, correct?
How we ended up being, we could help secure so bringing in the troops will get everybody together.
I'm not sure, Brett.
Used by the Israeli lobby in ways that we ended up attacking, purportedly mistakenly, Shia refugee camps. But what Reagan understood it as being is to get peace to Lebanon, even though Israel lied as to the reasons how they would actually weaponize their presence there. As soon as our troops got taken out of the bombing, in the barracks bombing, Trump's his reaction was just the opposite of Trump's.
Miss
He
Susan,
immediately realized his
we
mistake
gonna have to
putting him there. Immediately recognized that the Israel lobby was utterly deceptive.
I'm fixing to have to get you up to date on that.
And so he pulled everybody out rather than push more people in, and called up the Israeli prime minister and called it a Holocaust. What you're doing in Lebanon is a Holocaust, which the prime minister got enraged at. And he's like, I know, President Reagan said, I know a Holocaust when I see one. And what was happening in the Shia camps and other camps in the southern part of Lebanon, said, you're going to withdraw, and you're going to withdraw now, or we're going to cut off all aid, all involvement, all connection altogether. and Israel quickly capitulated. That's the last president to really stand up to Israel. Since then, nobody has. Jimmy Carter did in his own way, trying to negotiate peace with Egypt and the original the Camp David Accords and the rest. And he has subsequently, as an ex-president, repeatedly stood up to Israel. But the last president to really stand up to Israel in the modern history. Now, Eisenhower stood up to him in different ways. Truman publicly stood up to him in certain ways. John Kennedy publicly stood up to them in a range of ways. But the person to be the most direct.
Oh, now, look, you and Nosy are my two favorite boomers ever, okay?
Policy impactful standing up to Israel was President Ronald Reagan.
Is it true that Kennedy, and I haven't done a deep dive into this, so these are all things I'm learning from you. Is it true that Kennedy wanted to inspect the nuclear facilities in Israel?
Oh, yes. He strongly opposed Israel having any nuclear weapons at all. So even though he was.
And now he dead. He woke up dead.
Was sympathetic with Israel as a young democracy and the like, as his nephew, Robert Kennedy, who's now Secretary of Health and Human Services, relays. That's absolutely true. But he was very sympathetic to the Israeli cause due to the Holocaust and other factors and it being a democracy in the Middle East. But as soon as they developed nuclear weapons and learned that they were developing nuclear weapons and how they developed those nuclear weapons by stealing U.S. technology, he became very upset about it and wanted to force them to give up the program altogether.
She got that magic button, Brett. You better watch it. If you start getting cocky, just look real close at her name and see that wrench there beside it, and tremble.
And he ended up dead, and Lyndon Johnson does not follow through on that part of Kennedy's agenda.
That's right, Nosy. That's right.
I was going to ask about Lyndon Johnson. Also, isn't it true that the French helped Israel? Well, they were the first to help Israel develop the nuclear weapons in order for Israel to attack Egypt to give them access to the Suez.
Yeah, you had these constant colonial projects going on, whether it was the Brits using Israel as a proxy to try to take back the Suez Canal, the French trying to do the same. None of them gave up. The Soviet Union, to a degree, fancied that Israel would be a colony or an extension of the socialistic ideology until they turned the other way in the Cold War and went with the U.S. Side. So everybody has used Israel or played with Israel, or Israel is suckered into being a tool either of Israel, or the idea is that Israel is a tool of them. But effectively that relationship tends to only go one way, and it doesn't tend to profit the Brits, the French, the Russians, or the Americans as much as it profits Israel.
It's just like like a leech or a tick.
And look where we're at now. Are you sure the alliance that we're doing now, the integration, are you sure it hasn't been, I haven't checked because, you're a walking, talking grok, so I don't need to check. There's no such partnership with any other military to that extent?
Oh, no. It would trigger all kinds of red flags to the whole system because of the security of the information. If you intertwine them at that level, you lose security control. And that's something in the entire national security establishment they're obsessed with. So they don't like anybody. Sometimes it's for monetary and proprietary purposes that they're really doing it. But the security concerns are the government's focal point. And they just don't want anybody that involved at the level of the production and original.
I think you mean 9, 10, 25, Nosy, but yes, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Origination and supply chain process. I mean, we're trying to divorce. We didn't, we just realized that having dependency on the supply chain of rare earth.
I'll let you slide since you're a boomer, though.
From China for a lot of our weapons. Well, it has turned into a big problem. It's how we had to, basically cry uncle when on the tariff war and the trade war, as soon as China said, well, maybe we're not going to let these rare earths out. So why in the world would you want any other foreign nation now legally part of your supply chain that could choke up some part of your supply chain anytime they wanted? It's a bad idea at just a national security level. It potentially holds you hostage. It allows a leak of information. And again, with Israel, we got 6
She knows I'm kidding. She knows I love her.
decades of them doing this. 8 decades, really.
Exactly. Like you've got Zelensky begging the U.S. to give him license to be able to manufacture Tomahawk missiles.
All right, that's gonna be enough. I know they're winding down now. So let's see what else we got here for you. Let's see. Oops. Either do that. See Adam Big for a minute. Don't you forget it. I can't. You keep reminding me of stuff like that. Oh man, I'm just messing with you. You know I'm messing with you. All right, let's see here. Here's one of my new favorite chicks. Never thought that I would say this, but yeah, she makes a lot of sense. I don't agree with her on everything. She's got some pretty wacky, ideas when it comes to certain things, but regardless, especially on this issue, she's pretty good. Fire in the hole, guys. Whoops. Don't do a Baron. Fire in the hole, fire in the hole. Anna Kasparian.
Even though 6 out of 10 Americans now hold an unfavorable view of Israel, it looks like the House is moving toward integrating Israel's military with our own, which would be a disaster. And it seems like the point here is to further conceal the amount of support and military aid the United States provides to Israel to carry out their border expansion project. Cenk, your 2 cents.
Exactly. So
yeah, I know, Susan. Hey, Briggs back. What's up, Brig?
we're going to explain in this video here what the integration means. What does it mean to merge the US and Israeli military? I mean, it sounds so absurd when you say it out loud. And that is what they're planning to do now, our deeply disgusting, corrupt government. But secondly, why is this so dangerous? So we'll talk about that.
I'm agreeing with Cenk. You're like, oh, what the hell? This is definitely upside down world.
As well, Anna.
Now, this is a provision in what's referred to as a must-pass bill, right? This is the National Defense Authorization Act. It has to be renewed and passed every single year. And buried deep in the House's latest version of the 2027 National Defense Authorization Act is something known as Section 224, which lays out a complete marriage between the US and Israeli militaries. So as reported in Responsible Statecraft, Section 224 lays the groundwork for bilateral research and development, co-production of weapons, joint ventures, licensing agreements, and seemingly every manner of US-Israeli military.
I mean, do we hear this? Listen here. Section 224 lays out the groundwork for bilateral research and development, co-production of weapons, joint ventures, licensing agreements, and seemingly every manner of U.S.-Israeli military-industrial complex cooperation. Like all the bad shit.
Industrial complex cooperation. In fact, the report goes on to say that this provision would greatly expand coordination to seemingly every area.
Yep, okay, expand the coordination to seemingly every area of defense tech, including AI, quantum, scary, autonomous systems, and we know they love their autonomous systems, especially the kind that kills Palestinians, without anybody having to, be involved. Directed energy, we've heard an awful lot about that over the last few years. Cyber biotech means they can make nasty bugs to get you sick, and many more. And instead of it just being our evil, sinister, our sinister, evil scientists and doctors and you know what I'm saying. It's going to be a bunch of Israelis too. Wow, isn't that reassuring?
Area of defense technology, including AI, quantum, autonomous systems, directed energy, cyber biotech, and many more. It also proposes network integration and data fusion. In other words, the US military's data could soon be the Israeli military's data. And by the way, I mean, honestly, this just seems like a robbery to me. Like
Yes.
we're already providing tens of billions of dollars for Israel's current slaughter campaigns, on top of the $4 billion we were already giving them each year as part of the MOU that was signed in 2016 under the Obama administration. And so Americans are increasingly frustrated that we are bankrolling Israel's atrocities. And so this is a way of.
And again, I say that is Iran's problem and issue with us. If we were to, instead of entangling ourselves further and permanently, surgically joining ourselves together at the hip, if we were to do the opposite of that, I got a feeling all our issues with Iran would probably go away overnight.
Ensuring that the money that's allocated for our military just goes to the Israeli military as well.
Yep. So, guys, what happened is the Israelis got caught, right? And so, one of the most effective points against the Israelis has been, why
Sorry.
are we paying for all this? So, they've now done two different strategies to get around that. So, number one is say, oh no, we're weaning ourselves off. We're not going to ask for aid anymore. Now,
No, but we'll take all your biotech and all your autonomous, all your quantum computing and AI, abilities, and we'll take all that instead. Yeah, sounds like a good trade to me.
that's actually not the
Raining, what's up? She made it. What's up? What's up?
full story. Netanyahu, in that same exact statement, said, so we're only going to ask for 10 more
I don't know. I'm telling you, sometimes YouTube hates me, Raining.
years of aid. But that's not weaning yourself off. That's a whole nother decade of aid. And by the way, once they get to the 9th year, guess what they're gonna say? Oh, situation has changed and we're under attack and we have to do self-defense. You have to give us another 100 years, right? So no, that's an utter lie. And by the way, American media did not tell you the second part of the sentence. They might have buried it in the 17th paragraph, but the headlines were, Israel doesn't want any more money. Paragraph 27, except for another 10 years, which is 40 to 100 billion dollars. Now, the second strategy is this. Oh, we are not taking money anymore, wink. Instead, we're just gonna take your whole military. We're going to do, look at what they're saying, network integration.
Insane.
That means they're going to embed themselves inside our networks. Then we can't ever get them out. And by the way, that also makes
That's the reason why they wanted to do it.
in the old days, they had to bother stealing our nuclear secrets. And that was Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell.
They had to tiptoe in the dark of night with a little flashlight, and go pop the lock on a filing cabinet and sneak out a binder of papers. Not anymore. Now they just gotta, boop, or that's the way they're trying to make it.
Maxwell's dad. They had to bother stealing all of our top secrets. That was Jonathan Pollard.
Yes, please remember to do that. Please.
Now they don't have to bother. They're going to get integrated into our network. They're going to take all of our secrets, including AI. So that means whatever dangerous
Oh yeah, and like I said, they'll take all that shit. Oh, we don't need your measly, whatever it is, 3 or 4 billion. I mean, we don't need that, but we just do this for us. And then we can take all your deepest, darkest secrets, all that fine American technology, all that proprietary information, and we'll just sell it to China and Russia and all them, and it'll make that 3 or 4 billion we've been getting look like chump change.
This AI program we've got in our military, Israel will have in their military. And then God knows what the Israelis do with that kind of technology. And then if that wasn't enough, data fusion. So all of our data will be fused together so then you can't extract the Israelis from it. So they are coming to get the entire US military expertise, knowledge, systems, weapons, etc., under the guise of, we are not taking money anymore. And you know how many mainstream media outlets have covered this? As far as I can tell, 0. Because they don't find it controversial. They're like, Israelis taking over our military? Well, of course, only anti-Semites would disagree with that. And in Congress.
Oh, we're anti-Semites. We're not really, just so you know, for the algorithm. It was a joke.
Look, guys, look, this can't pass. This has got to, we have to
pass. It's gonna
we
pass.
have to
There's
make
no
some
hope.
sort of stand on this. It can't pass. But at the same time, it can't not pass. Do you want to know the only 2 people in Congress that are publicly objecting right now? You'll never guess. Ro Khanna Tom Massey.
Okay, I need to understand where the F are the progressive members of the House? Where are they?
So let's see how they
I get
react to this.
AOC's keeping her powder dry. I see you, homegirl. I know you're looking forward to a presidential run, which I think is literally insane, okay? Can you do something for once in your life that actually matters? You know, in the position, this amazing position of power that you have. I mean, this woman will like literally breathe a little heavy and everyone wants to cover it in the media. So obviously she has the bully pulpit. How about you speak out?
So look, the proof is in the pudding. So no matter what you think of the past, right now, this would totally integrate Israel into our military in a way that we cannot extract them from.
It's a disaster.
It is unacceptable. There is no progressive who thinks this is acceptable. Quick question. When was the last time you went to bed before midnight without your phone lighting up your face? It turns out if you've got the news cycle on a loop in your head, it's harder to fall asleep. Here's what's actually happening. The stress, the screen time, the doom scrolling spiral, it raises your core body temperature. And a body that's too warm cannot get into deep sleep. You're not just tired because the news is exhausting, you're tired because your body never actually recovered. The good news is science has a real answer, and it's simpler than you think. Your bed temperature. Enter ChiliPad 2.0 by Sleep Me, the water-based mattress topper that actively controls your bed temperature from 55 to 115 degrees all night long. No new mattress, no renovation. It actively cools just using water. Fans only move hot air around. ChiliPad actually pulls heat away from your body. Precise, consistent comfort. And the new nightstand remote senses when you get into bed and kicks on automatically. Dual zones mean you and your partner each set your own temperature. No subscriptions needed. You get a 2-year warranty, and they're designed and assembled in the USA. Look, I'm up late doom scrolling with the rest of you. Getting my sleep environment under control changed everything. So give it a try. Visit www.sleep.me/TYT to get up to $255 off your ChiliPad 2.0 with code TYT. That's www.sleep.me/TYT. Free shipping.
Me neither, Miss Susan, but this isn't a YouTube ad. This is just an ad read that they do. So that's why it's on here.
Free returns, and a 30-night trial, so you can test it out, dream big, and wake up better. The headlines will still be there in the morning. You might as well wake up ready for them. So, and all of the shows that disagree on all these other things, right? That disagree with us, that we this, that, the other thing. Everyone agrees on this. You can't integrate them. We'll never get them out of our lives. And there's a way of stealing all of our
We'll never get them out of our lives.
military spending without doing any of the spending.
God.
Israel will just take it all, right? So if people, and guys, it's not just a matter of how you vote. It's easy to hide in a cave and vote the right way when you know you're going to lose the vote. The question is, are you going to fight? Are you going to come out and say, hell no? And Anna's absolutely right. When AOC sneezes, the entire press
They're all ads though, Miss Susan. So they're all annoying.
covers it.
100%.
So if she chooses not to fight on this, that is a super active choice.
Dude.
And that is true of Greg Casar, who's the head of the Progressive Caucus. That's true of everyone in
All of them,
Congress.
all of them.
Jayapal, et cetera, every one of them, right? If they choose not to fight on this, not just the Democratic establishment, but that will mean that everyone outside of Roe, because Roe is already on the board, but anyone who's on the board, great, we'll show you, right? Outside of those few people, that means they're all useless and they're never going to fight for you.
Yeah, well, we kind of realized they were all useless a long time ago.
If you don't fight on this, that means that's a core betrayal. You'll never fight for us. But why would they even hesitate? This is
I don't get it.
approximately
I just don't get it.
100% of Democrats agree with us on this. So the reason they
Voters.
hesitate, of Democratic voters, the reason they hesitate is because they know mainstream media is on the side of the Israelis. So if you oppose the Israelis, all of a sudden you're gonna get negative press. And my guess is folks like
That's right, Ryan. Hopefully you'll get to vote again sometime soon.
AOC think, well, I don't want any negative press. I'm gonna run for higher office. I need mainstream media to love me. So if I oppose Israel, they won't love me. So you know what? I'll vote the right way. So then I'll go, ha, you can't criticize me most of the time. No. If you don't show up for the fight, that says everything.
It sure does.
And so far, have you guys seen AOC doing? I mean, I don't want to give Roe as the counterexample every time, but okay, so let's take him out of it. As much as Tom Massey has in loudly opposing Israel, in saying no more money to Israel, and release the Epstein files, etc. Have you seen her actively fighting as much as Tom Massey, a Republican who we disagree with night?
Yeah, you got to be careful with them BBs, Nosy. You know, we got a BB in the house, but he's a much better BB.
80% of the time. If he's outdoing you, you're definitely not doing enough.
And I mean, look, for all the criticism that we have lobbed over at Marjorie Taylor Greene for other reasons, she was willing to destroy her political career to do the right thing and speak out against the unholy relationship and union that we have with Israel. It is a foreign country. Even if you are an Israel supporter, you have to confess it is a foreign country, and foreign countries sometimes might have the same objectives that we have, and sometimes have objectives that run counter to our own. So the idea of integrating our military with a foreign country's military is insane. And the reason why AOC would be incredibly powerful in spreading this message and fighting back against it is because she gets the media attention. I'm sorry, but Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, they've been on the record saying the right things. They don't get the media attention. So AOC has that benefit. Use it to your advantage to do the right thing. But weirdly enough, she doesn't do it, which I find very strange.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true. But
Okay, we're gonna skip that ad. All right, let's see here. See what else I got for y'all guys. We'll be wrapping up here before long. I'm not gonna keep y'all here all night. Okay, let's see here. We're gonna cut through a couple shorts. These are really, quick and to the point, but I think they make some really good points. So let's check these out and then we'll call it a night. Okay, let me bring this in here.
The same defense bill that can't afford combat injured veterans has four sections for Israel. This is HR 8800, the 2027.
What's up, Elizabeth? Good to see you in the chat. Good to see you.
NDAA. Sections 224, 1221, 1222, and 1223. Four sections. The Richard Starr Act, 0. Both parties wrote it. If you want to see how they do this every single year, subscribe. Full breakdown coming.
Congress is
All right, this is a good one.
quietly trying to link the U.S. and Israeli militaries to the National Defense Authorization Act. Talked about. Section 224 of the NDAA creates what's called the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. This hidden provision aims to structurally blend the defense sectors and technology of the United States and Israel to an unprecedented degree, moving far beyond traditional financial or military aid packages. The bill directs the Pentagon to appoint a senior executive agent who's tasked with managing and accelerating deep bilateral military-industrial integration. It mandates joint development, network integration, and data fusion across next-generation warfare sectors. This includes AI, autonomous systems, cyber defense, quantum computing, directed energy, and biotechnology. It also builds a legal framework for expanded weapons co-production, joint ventures, and licensing agreements. By expanding Israeli defense manufacturing facilities on U.S. soil, it seeks to deeply embed these partnerships into
Pretty much everything that we have excelled in, one thing that you pretty much everybody has to admit is, especially when it comes to things like that, there is nowhere better on earth for manufacturing these. And I lost my battery. Be right back.
local U.S. job markets as well. Foreign policy experts are warning this provision would give Israel a more integrated military relationship with Washington.
I'm fixing to let y'all go. Oh, I hear you. I see how it is, Daisy. I guess I'm boring, huh? I know it's getting late. We're about done here.
than even NATO.
This
NATO.
is complete military fusion.
Oh, well, here's another one I was going to show. Might as well go ahead and let this one rip too.
This is complete military fusion. Who does this build to? The establishment, the Secretary of Defense.
Thank you, Daisy. Thank you. Yeah, just make sure you get me one of those that's got a cord on it, Brett. One I can plug into the wall.
Shall designate an executive agent.
Oh Lord. Yeah, prayers, Elizabeth. All y'all in the chat, y'all definitely be keeping her in your prayers. That's no good. I hate that. Thank you, Daisy. Absolutely. Hey, you know what? I enjoy you I love you watching me. Okay? I love watching y'all. I love reading what y'all got to say. Love the back and forth. We always have a good time.
Such as term is defined in the directive, responsible for synchronizing cooperative efforts between the United States and Israel to expand and accelerate bilateral defense technology research, development, testing, evaluation, integration, and industrial cooperation by, and then it goes on with a list of tasks. But pay attention to that one right there, that executive agent. That's really important because that executive agent answers to no one.
They're not accountable to anyone.
No. And the seat is permanent. It's a permanent executive agent inside the Pentagon with statutory authority across the entire Department of Defense.
And we all know, basically, they're just legitimizing what we already have there. I mean, like, if you don't think, I touched on it earlier, if you don't think we don't already have some kind of, hive Israeli, whatever she just said, but somebody in there, you've lost your mind. So, but if they get it into law, then, what can be said?
Whose job is fusing the United States military with the Israeli military. Here are some of the stuff that they'll be responsible for. Counter unmanned systems, anti-tunneling, missile and air defense, artificial intelligence, quantum, directed energy, cyber defense, biotech, network integration, and
That's what it was, biotech, that and the countermeasure that they come up with.
data fusion. That's another scary one. Defense industrial.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot about data centers lately, haven't we? Data fusion.
Based co-production. We're going to talk about that a little more. And a catch-all, obviously, other emerging technologies as jointly agreed by the parties. That's military language for anything the hell we want. You should know.
Oh yeah.
We have all catch-all clauses in all military.
Grab it all.
So
Leave everything open, not closed.
exactly. And that number 8, that network integration and data fusion, the U.S. military data could soon become the Israeli military's data. That's not foreign aid. That's way big.
Yeah.
Choke up some part of your supply chain anytime they want.
And like I said, who needs all those?
Complete military fusion. Who does this build to?
Sorry, guys. Who needs all those billions when you can? Who needs all those billions when you can just sell this proprietary American technology to all the other governments that would love to get their hands on it?
Congress is quietly trying to.
Yep. Who needs those little handouts when you got access to everything? All right, let's see. Did I have any more? One more, guys. One more. And I'm going to check out this guy's website too, by the way. Y'all feel free. I'm not endorsing it. I've never even been on there, but it sounded interesting to me. So, oh yeah, you missed Robert Barnes. Look, go back to the replay. We played about 30 minutes of him. Yeah, I had my concerns about Robert Barnes previously, but he's starting to get with the program now. Believe it or not, he's kind of shocked me in a lot of different ways. So he starting to realize what's up, what time it is. Very impressed. Very, very, very. All right, guys, here goes the last one. Drum roll. Oh, man. You know, I don't ever think about that. Guys, next time when I say, drum roll, please. There it is. I just don't ever think to do that. I might turn that up a little bit. Drum roll, please. All right, guys. What about that? All right, let's get back to it.
Every year, America gives billions of dollars of our money to fund Israel's military. Now, even Republicans, even Benjamin Netanyahu, are talking about changing that. But don't buy it. It's a shell game. What Congress is trying to do now is find different ways of entrenching the relationship so deep in America's own defense industrial base that it's impossible to root it out.
You know, and there's a good chance that it's impossible now. I don't think it's impossible, but he and the others that we've heard from tonight are 100%, 1,000% correct when they say that if this goes and this happens, it will be impossible to root them out.
A new section of law in the National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA, would give Israel unprecedented access to American technology and would force the United States military to integrate Israeli defense technologies into our own critical military supply chain, giving Israel incredible leverage over America's own defense priorities. We need to stop this before it starts. Visit anewpolicy.org/advocacy today to find out how you can help.
What about that, guys? I'm going to check it out. Like I said, I'm not vouching for anything. Well,
The
I tried to
same
stop it
defense
on
bill that can't afford
Every year,
Let's see. There it is. A new policy.org/advocacy. Like I said, it'd be worth, yes, lots of people are waking up to it. Yep. I mean, look, when you get in these terrible positions that we've been put in lately, when you see people just innocents, women and children being slaughtered by the tens of thousands, like in 4K, it's kind of hard not to wake up. And if there's any one thing good that's come out of all of that's happened over there in Gaza, is people are starting to realize that they've been lied to about what goes on over there. And of course, with our inability to say no, to cut them off, to stop this from happening, and our inability to say no, it seems like concerning anything else when it comes to them, is, like I said, started to wake people up. I mean, people have been in the position where they pretty much have to. A lot of these people have no choice. They're just being shook away. Like, look at this. Look at the ridiculousness of this shit. And yeah, that's what's happened to a lot of people. There are more people now that realize that we have a very, very bad problem that we need to handle. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. It has nothing to do with the Jews. It has absolutely nothing to do with Jewish people. This is strictly an Israeli issue. This is a problem with the secular Israeli government and the dual citizen America/Israelis and or full-blown Israeli citizens that are over here, but don't even support our own country that has been so good to them. they come here just to take advantage and support that little country over there. So that is that's our problem. And Rick, yes, sir. There you go, buddy. Elizabeth Minton, they kept everyone so busy and distracted and entertained, plus suppressing those who have been trying to wake everyone up. It's wild. It is. And that's what I have said over and over and over again about COVID. They had some ulterior motives. They had some really, I think they had some really bad intentions. But I think the one thing that they did not account for was when they locked everybody down and forced everybody to stay at home, people had nothing to do but either watch the tube or get online. And those couple years there where everybody was locked down for COVID and didn't have anything better to do, so many people got educated on things that I don't think they ordinarily ever would have if it hadn't been for that. So, yes, what'd you say there? I'm so thankful for those who kept wearing the tinfoil hat that everyone proudly wears now. Thankful they never stopped warning us. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Yeah, who is it? Says, oh yeah, Coach, tinfoil Speedo. That's good stuff. But yeah, so I really feel like COVID was the first trigger. COVID was the first good shake to these people to try to shake them away. And then past that, we've had the whole Gaza thing, and yep, that's right. Like a pimple, it's been festering. That's exactly what now. Let's see. I don't like that. Mario Robert was speaking to. Mario has an Israeli flag on his X post, and he is like a slow kid. Scott Ritter has to constantly put him in his place. Post dumb shit on X. I didn't realize that, Ryan. That's funny. Hey, I forgot you're on X. You need to follow me if you're not, or maybe you are. Did you follow me on X? If you didn't, it's AdamTF_82. Come find me and give me a follow if you ain't already. Kelly, what's up, Kelly? We are, I guess we're going to call it here. Been a pretty long one. Sorry, it took me a minute to get going. I was just trying to get everything as good as I could. Everything was last minute getting going. I know I've still got to do some fine tuning for sure, but at least I'm able to do it. Okay, yeah. After I said that, it seemed like I remembered seeing that you follow me. So good deal. Yeah, and always keep an eye out on X for if in a perfect world, if everybody that followed me here would follow me on X, I could put an X post out and everybody would always know. But keep an eye out for that raining. I mean, it's going to be very rare, if ever, that I'll go live without sharing the link on X a little bit ahead of time. So that's another way too to keep an eye out and know when I'm going live. So anyway, all right, guys, I really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. I know, Miss Susan, that's all right. I'll bring you some X here and there as you need it. And let's see, with Adam, with Mod, with chat, with all anti-Zionists. That's right, Smiles. Elizabeth, it is Adam TF, as in Thomas Frank. Adam TF _82. And it should, my actual screen name is going to be The Real One Podcast. So, yeah, find me. Give me a follow. I'll follow you back. Anyway, guys, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for coming out. Let's see. Yes, so I am back in business. I'm going. I've got me an interface, so that's good. I did have to borrow the money for this. So again, anybody can, I would really appreciate it. My links are pinned at the top of the chat. They are also in the description of the video, $5, $10, whatever. If anybody can help contribute towards that, I can get that saint paid back really quickly. I really appreciate that person doing that, because yeah, it could have been next week instead of the next day. So yeah, anyway, guys, yeah, share this thing around, please. This one was kind of late, so we can't get as big an audience as we could earlier, and I'm sorry. We're going to work on that, but share. Make sure you hit the like. Anybody that's listening to this and is not subscribed, please do that. And yeah, so guys, I'm going to get out of here. I do plan on going live tomorrow also. We'll have to see, but just keep an eye out for a post. Keep an eye out for a future live, and I will see all y'all guys right back here real soon. Good night.